Here we go. I call a meeting to order. This is the City Health and Safety Committee meeting. It's 5:15. We're in the City Hall chambers. I call the meeting to order. First on the agenda is public comment. Is there any public comment? Second time, any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to the minutes of the previous meeting. Consider placing those minutes in file from February 26th meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of putting the minutes on file, say aye.
Aye.
And against? Okay, that passes. Next item, nuisance complaint, Mr. Ashbeck.
I don't have anything new.
Anything new? No? Okay. Nothing there. Item number 2, discuss and consider approval of the vouchers.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the vouchers? I have one. On page 8, Eagle 3, I believe it's police technology. I don't know what that item is.
That's a new, excuse me, a replacement, actually, radar unit
Oh, okay.
for one of the squad
Oh,
cars.
okay. Okay. That's the only question I had on the vouchers. Anybody else have a question or a discussion on anything on the vouchers? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of putting the vouchers on file, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? And that passes. Roman numeral 5, general agenda items. Discuss and consider amending Chapter 26, Article 5, Section 26, 136, purchase or possession of tobacco products. And that's change of ordinance?
Correct. Yeah, I brought this to the meeting. We're actually, should have done this months ago. We've been running into problems in the schools and throughout town. A lot of the devices that are out there now, especially the vaping devices, are not necessarily a tobacco product. They're not necessarily a marijuana product either. They're all kinds of varieties that we're running into. So this captures all of them and allows us to address it under the traditional ordinance of purchase or possession.
Okay.
I have a dumb question. I just answered by looking at 21 is the minimum age to smoke now.
Wisconsin, yeah.
Well, let's change it back to 17.
Let her eat.
I don't have any other questions.
That's the other issue too, is there's no regulation to it on that end, so while it may be for sale at, say, a convenience store, a juice product that can be vaped, there is no age restriction on it. Anyone can go in there and buy it.
So you're basically broadening the ordinance to cover more products.
This is capturing all that we see in the
Okay.
schools and
Yep.
providing some reasonable regulation to it at the stores.
I'll make a motion to forward on to council with recommendation of approval.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? And that passes. Number 2, consider temporary Class B picnic license for the Merrill Historical Society on April 27, 2024, the Cosmo Hall, 401 East 3rd Street, in conjunction with the Merrill Historical Society Trivia Contest on 2024.
Prior to anybody making any motions, the American Historical Society would be 401 East 3rd, but the Cosmo Hall would be 800 block East Main.
Correct.
Correct.
805.
805, yep.
It's
On
the
their
license.
location
Oh,
of premise.
okay. All right,
Motion approved.
second.
Okay, any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? That passes. Next one, consider temporary Class B picnic license for Lincoln County Fair Association on August 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, 2024 at the Merrill Festival Grounds in conjunction with the Lincoln County Fair.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? That passes. Next one, consider Class A liquor license for McCallum Real Estate LLC 1201 Grand Avenue. Merrill.
This will be a sale of a existing business, so it'll be a transfer of ownership and licensing.
What business?
Lotters Mobile on Grand
Okay.
Avenue.
Yep, okay.
So their license isn't going to change, they're just changing the agent?
There's going to be a new owner. I believe this is the,
Okay.
let me look at the information here and make sure we have everything.
Mackerel Real Estate LLC.
I know I reviewed the entire packet. They did get everything turned in. And their agent is, I'm not going to pronounce the name. That form is correct.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Against? Okay, number 5, consider a Class A liquor license for Merrill Petroleum LLC, 3,350 East Main Street.
This is another sale.
Potentially, yes. This is another new ownership. It's my understanding.
Potentially, or,
My understanding it is, yes. Other people may want to clarify that.
well, yeah, I mean, I don't wanna,
Well, it's a new business name. So yes, I would call it a change of ownership. And then there is a new agent that is listed here as well. Kristen Harlan would be the agent at the time of the transaction. The business owner is also listed.
Okay,
Would you agree this is a sale to business? I think if the chair can recognize.
yeah,
Mr. Schwartz.
go ahead.
All right, that's all, we're just wondering, thanks.
Simple enough, right?
Yep,
right, I didn't wanna give out a license for,
No,
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second.
okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? That passes. Next, the last one here. Consider Class A liquor license for Express Lane CAPL Retail LLC, 702 North Center Avenue.
And I'll assume that's the same, that's what we knew as Holiday, now Marathon, and who knows what next week.
correct. We've been working on this for a while now. They've actually a very prepared company asking a lot of questions, which is good. And they're prepared to receive the license at the moment of handover. So,
Do you know, will that be rebranded, or?
there are so many of these going around. I don't know I think the one on the west side is the Circle K, correct now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was confusing, so.
Well, let's see what happens. I'll
Yeah.
make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, hearing any further discussion on this one? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? That passes. On to the monthly reports. Monthly report, Chief Klug, you're up. Strategic planning update.
Yeah, if you wanna lump them all together, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, start with your monthly report.
Monthly report, I guess you guys have in your packet, since we have other agenda items, I'll kinda just take any questions.
I have one question. The turnout time, I see that's increasing. On page, what was that, page 33? Why is that increasing so?
For some of them, it's just the reporting of it, if there's not a lot of, from that previous month, that just tracks it from month to month.
Okay.
So it may give that, especially only the second one of the month, or for this year.
Okay.
But typically, I'm not aware of any major deficiencies.
okay.
Sometimes it
All
can
right.
just be a
I just-
bad report that causes it to spike or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can just be slow getting out, but
That's the only question I had, dealing with that.
I have a couple questions. One is, how do you access your yearly report on here? Because I can't figure it out.
On the agenda?
Yep. Agendas and minutes, which is what I just opened before.
Packet.
Yep. That's all further goes, page 2. So lucky I wrote this down. We should have a teenager up here. On page 6 of your year, when did the yearly report go in? I spent over an hour looking at the two packets that say I never saw his yearly report.
It was on the revised one.
Oh,
Right here, agenda packet. No, it should all be
Well, I hope you're at all my meetings in the future. Page 6, your monthly, I just think you're missing Russell in there. It's just, I think it might be a clerical error.
On page 6 of the monthly?
Yearly, sorry, my bad.
Oh, I didn't see that yearly report is not in there.
It's here now.
Are you looking on this graph by municipality?
Yeah.
So I think what happened was when it printed, we're actually missing other towns that are on there too.
Okay.
Because of the formatting, I think that went into it.
Yeah, no, it's not even here.
Yeah, I don't have
Got it.
So it was just odd that,
Yeah. 'cause
I
there's a
just wanna
bunch of
point it
ones.
out
So
for-
realistically, it should have like 13 different municipalities
Yeah.
probably listed on there.
actually, I think that was your first responder. I gotta find it. Oh, yeah, by municipality. So, yeah, you are missing quite a few, so.
Yeah, so I think when it printed, that's why you see the different percentages, but not unfortunately all of them printed with the caption next to them. Because actually in between City of Merrill and Town of Town of Pine River should be Town of Merrill.
Okay.
Was actually the second highest EMS calls by municipality. So I was, unfortunately, as we kind of put this together, sometimes when the graphs change sizes, they.
On the online version, though, it's the same way.
Right, what I'm saying
Okay.
though is that when we still format it, because it's just a PDF online, we can still try to, at least for the electronic version, maybe update it.
Okay.
It just may change some of the formatting, because when we get into its, I think it's actually PowerPoint Publisher maybe, or I forget what, I throw it in. And if we increase this, it just may change
Sure.
the layout a little bit, but yeah, unintentional.
No, I just want to point out you're
Thank you.
not complete. On page 7, when it comes to downtimes, I cannot figure out how a rig takes 41 minutes to get back in service for an average call in the city of Merrill. Does that include the report time, or,
It would be an in-service time.
but it says
So-
average total trip time at the end of each one, and you're running to Birch, I understand it's gonna be an hour, but
Yep.
for the city of Merrill, it'd be 41 minutes? I just want to know if that included the run time, or run report time. That seems like an
It
awful
shouldn't-
long
Really should
time.
be the time of whenever we're assigned the call to whatever time they report back in service.
Wow, that's a long time.
Looks like it includes, though, time at the scene and then time at the final destination too, though. I mean, that's,
Hmm. Just seems long. There used to be,
And to be honest, for this one, when battalion chief Scope throws it together, as you probably well aware, sometimes when it's information that goes in is only good as the stuff coming out then, so
Sure.
unfortunately, and this is, I believe, maybe one of the, I think actually he ran this, we included it this year because when working with the county for that Medicare, Medicaid reimbursement that they're doing, the state and feds were asking for some of this. So this is, I think, just derived out of like the image trend report. So depending on maybe what goes into it. But you're right, it is, you would suspect that calls maybe in the city would be quite a bit
Yeah,
shorter than.
especially with all the
some of
tip
other
ups you
ones.
have and everything else. Last but not least, on your monthly report, I don't begrudge this person for getting all the training, but it seems like your newest hire gets the majority of the outside training when you do your monthly report. How do you assign that? Is there a sign up? Is it just because she's the lowest in the totem pole and needs more training, or?
On which one was that?
So on your monthly report, whenever you say,
Oh.
so-and-so traveled to here and did this, normally it's one person. I'm just wondering, is that because she's new? I never see any other names, or mostly you.
I would say it's more because they're ambitious. Yeah, so we do our best to fulfill most of the training requests that we get. Actually, firefighter Gamal's actually gonna be listed on here, I'm sure, quite a bit too. He's been pretty active with like some communication stuff. So what we do to try to evaluate each training request, there's actually a form that they fill out. And then Battalion Chief Kragenberg reviews them, and he'll come to me with questions, or if we have funding and stuff like that available, so. I would just say it's just been fortunate to work out that we've been able to accommodate most of those. I wouldn't say it's necessarily because they're new, but probably, like I said, just more ambitious and requesting further knowledge.
I guess I would question them to the others, why aren't they? It seems that another department, it doesn't,
Well,
I
you know,
don't
what, I
see a
don't know,
lot.
it's just, I think everybody, it's the busyness of it too.
Yeah, and I'm
You
not
know, some of
faulting.
the
I mean, it's,
Social status, family status, you know, this individual, you know, not having kids and those type of things perhaps plays a role, but
Yeah, and God bless her for getting it, and I
Yeah.
don't begrudge her, but I'm just, it's like, when I see a ton of training, when I see no. But we'll get to the next report and ask about that, so. That's all I have. You wanna ask about run, ambulance transfer destinations or anything?
I had a discussion with him about that.
Okay, any further discussion for Chief Klug on his monthly report? Strategic planning?
all right, strategic plan is Chairman Wykes requested that to be included as an agenda item. We went through that process back in January. We had 3 Wednesday night meetings that were facilitated by NTC. And with that, I think we had a good mix of internal and external stakeholders in that. Fortunately for us, some of the stuff was reviewed from the standpoint, we reviewed our mission statement, which really just changed the grammatical listing of it. And we added a vision statement, and a review of our core values also stayed the same. We did spend some time updating the definitions as they fit our department. And then we jumped into the objectives with strategies based on those meetings as well too. So the document is in your packet, and it's something that we will continue to try to go through and tackle the next 5 years. I know I've met with Administrator Akey on, you know, trying to complete more of it. It would have been nice to have a little more time for the objectives and strategies to kind of fill in those boxes. So we'll do our best to kind of come up with a timetable and time frame for some of those events. And, you know, the challenge is that, you know, you put together a document, and the minute it's published, it's out of date. But it'll be a working document that we'll reference as we continue to try to plan and operate in the next 5 years here to kind of give us some things to work towards. And fortunately, some of them too are actually, we haven't updated it yet, but some of them, you know, are talks about capital replacement planning or those type of things. Those things are actually in place quite a bit already, so we feel, like you said, it was a worthwhile project to be a part of, and it was a good review in some cases, and others it was good to kind of plan ahead and look ahead.
Anything that was outstanding, inefficient, or where we can do a lot better in, or anything?
I think that one of the ones for at least the members of the department that stood out, and because of this, we're gonna make some changes this year now, was in the, I'll call them the non-emergent preventative services that we've offered. I think most of us went into it as we would hear a lot of feedback from the public and external stakeholders about, you know, the quick response times and the, you know, efficient services that we provide. And most of them that were part of the meeting said that their perception of the department was, you know, mostly how we're outgoing in the community and involved in a lot of prevention and public relation type events. So in 2023, we had previously kind of cut back in some of those activities, and moving forward this year, largely in part to the strategic planning, we're gonna try to incorporate being active and maintaining some of those events that we've attended previously.
Thank you.
One of the things you mentioned is going into dispatch and doing some educational stuff. Do you know who's gonna be in charge of that?
Well, there was some things in the plan here too that came from our external stakeholders. I think when we were having discussions about maybe some of the challenges and opportunities that we have.
Without getting to that, whomever gets the mighty task, I have a PowerPoint that was used in training.
Okay.
That, of course, has been wiped out. So before they reinvent the wheel, if they want a copy of it, I'll give it to them.
I don't expect that I don't have any envisions of anyone from our department going in and doing the training, you know, or like providing formal, but I do know in Craig, and things that we have managed to work with the sheriff and the dispatch center has been recently the Mavis training, where they brought the Mavis, Wisconsin team up there for the mutual aid. Also was brought to my attention that this week, Wednesday, Thursday this week, we have a hazmat refresher, and the EM director incorporated some hazmat training for the dispatchers in this grant. And that's coming from Nicolay.
It's this week.
Is this week as well?
Yep, it's happening, yep.
So that was some outside, hands-on, or at least outside training that the dispatch center will get. And I think you're aware, like I said, we try to provide as much insight training, feedback as we can, knowing it's a separate entity from under our umbrella here.
Well, it's difficult,
So-
yeah. Okay.
Wasn't there some request to better screen the dispatch?
Yes, part of what occurs, what a lot of EMS providers are recognizing is that there can be a perception of non-medical requests for ambulances at times, and so hopefully educate dispatchers and trying to assist us in determining how medically necessary it is. We still have a duty to respond, in which we do, but to try to screen those calls and help us out, I think is kind of the direction that we were hoping to go, but it's a challenge for everyone, pretty much.
Any further questions on strategic planning from Chief Klug? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the Chief of Police, Chief Bennett.
Start with the monthly. Is that what you want to start with?
Yep.
Okay. Our usual format is there. I can certainly take questions on that if you have any. Or I can move on, whatever you'd like. Pretty typical for the month, although obviously a busy month when it comes to
You had a new
complaints.
officer that-
What's that?
You have a new officer that's just started? Or?
Szymanski started in December, and he's been doing really well, pretty active out there. And he's been being shared amongst the FTOs, which on this round is including 2, if not 3, of our lieutenants. And I think they're enjoying getting back into the mix and doing that too. They've been doing a really good job with them. And we're still looking to fill one more position right now. We have an interview coming this week, so we're hopeful. See where that goes. And a pending retirement at the end of the year. And if we can get a decent candidate, I might come to council committee with a request for that to get started earlier. We'll see where it goes.
Speaking of that, have you thought of getting together your various stakeholders and looking at maybe your structure of your agency with your impending retirement, or?
No. I'm pretty happy with the structure that we have right now. It took a long time to get there, get back to it.
I think get back to you.
Yeah. And the years that we spent away from it were not good. We
Well, I
should
mean,
never do that
seeing-
again.
Having 2 captains again, it just.
Well, the 2 captains were actually elevated patrol lieutenants. They were in charge of a shift. And then we had 2 regular patrol lieutenants. It was 3 of us sharing the combination of another job just to make the detective position work at the time. And it was not good. We can't do that with in the future, especially with the youth of our agency.
That's one of the reasons I brought it up.
Yeah.
So what's the situation with the other detective? Is he or she is elevated to that position? Do you have a time frame for that, or?
Yeah, we're trying to backfill higher. Right now, Szymanski is in field training. So once Szymanski gets ready to go, my intent was to select that detective and make the assignment. And we're going to be 1 short again, but I think we can cover it. It's easier to cover in patrol than it is to cover in the detective any further. If you haven't looked at the annual report, you'll see how they've been carrying a pretty heavy load.
I haven't.
Yeah.
So
And
do you envision this next detective to be a drug detective such as Detective Wade was?
There-
Or
well,
a general assignment?
So Wade was a drug detective, but he also shared a level of general assignment as well. Typically, it was always in that realm of like drug endangered children or child abuse relative to a drug environment. There was some nexus there, but they also helped out with the general caseload in the detective bureau. So I'd say it's necessary, and they're probably going to be trained more on the drug end of it than anyone else.
I think I know what this is. Hello? Can I call you back in like 10 minutes? Thank you. Bye.
are they?
Somebody did. Okay. I mean, the Detective Bureau in their yearly report has a very good clearance level. It just, my question is, if we have any organized drug enforcement going on?
No, not in the sense like when Wade was here. But even then, it was pretty loose with regional law enforcement.
Well, I know how that.
Yeah, you know how that goes.
Okay.
It's still occurring, it's just not in the same format that you were aware of before.
Any further questions on the monthly report for Chief Bennett? Moving on, the annual report, Chief?
All right. I'll take your questions. Go ahead.
2, unless you have any.
No.
All right. Under ordinance citation, 61 theft charges, is that like your high school store by the vape pen type thing? Or are we moving away from the circuit court system?
I would love to keep a lot in circuit court if we could, if that gets the point across.
I'm just
But-
wondering, the 61 theft charges, is that real basic petty thing between juveniles, or?
Typically, it's your shopliftings, it's your lower levels, anything with a decent value, we try to go criminal with it. But we also have spoken with the DA's office, and if they're gonna kick a citation down, or kick it down to an ordinance level at the county, we ask them to revert it back to us at least, so we can issue for our municipal court.
Well, I just saw that, they had a recent arrest, and I was familiar with a person involved, and it got kicked back to ordinance violation.
But county ordinance, right? And yeah, that's one of my pet peeves, so, we have talked to the DA about that, and if he's not gonna prosecute, just tell us you're not gonna prosecute and give it back to us.
And then when the K-9 program was first brought up, you and I had discussions, and I don't think I was in here yet, about you were gonna do a second K-9 at a tiered level.
No, I was never committed to that.
I know
We
you
could
weren't
talk.
committed to it.
We could
You
talk
spoke
about it.
about it.
We could talk about it in the future, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just wondering if that's still on the table, or?
Not right now, it's not. We're
Okay.
not in a position to even think about doing that.
Do you have, I suppose it's in the 18 pounds of paper we get from finance, but do you know where the K-9 program it is financially, or?
Well, financially, it's not funded by the city.
I understand that. But
we-
there is a K-9 fund. The question is,
There's a K-9 fund, and it's funded by donations, basically, is what it is.
I
So
understand.
when those donations dwindle down over the life of the K-9, it's just a shortening balance is what it is. And I have a balance here.
that's all I was asking for.
I should probably get you Emily's report. That would be the more accurate balance. Because I just run a spreadsheet of expenses, is all I do. Yeah, I'll get you an accurate balance later, actually, if you want a number.
Just don't send it on a packet.
Why?
I won't be able to find it.
Oh.
I have no more questions.
What, the K-9 is an interesting thing, and I just want to bring this up, because you need to know this. When we went and obtained a K-9, we didn't obtain a new K-9 officer. We used an existing officer and assigned a K-9 to them. That burden that is placed on that officer for training and maintenance comes off of their time spent, that's normally spent here serving in a patrol role. So we lose an officer for maintenance and training. We have to get 16 hours of training in a month, or try to, and at least, 30 minutes every day, every calendar day for maintaining that dog. All that time comes off of their time worked. And that is not, we just lose an officer for that period of time. And
Is that
that's,
happening?
what's that?
Is that training happening? Is it?
As best as we can make it happen, yeah.
Okay. And the only reason I bring it up is because the county has one dog that's semi-retired, and the other dog passed away.
Yeah.
And apparently there's no succession planning whatsoever over there.
There is.
And,
There-
okay, well, not.
They're
that-
just not talking about it to their people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it just concerns me that we're gonna be at the point where we have that missing 4-year-old, and, well, wait for a dog from Rhinelander, wait for, so it just,
Why is that? Our dog's young.
I'm just, if he's not available. You
Oh.
just took out half the canines in the county in the last month across the street, so I'm just concerned about the future of that.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had 24 coverage in the county by any means. I think having 4 4 dogs is the most we've ever had in the county between Tomahawk, Merrill, and the 2 counties. I think the latest one that passed away was well past service life
Oh, yeah.
too.
Yep. Again, I have no more questions.
Okay. Moving on, number 3, monthly report, Lincoln County Humane Society.
No
I
questions.
have no questions.
Ain't anybody here to answer anyway.
Right.
All right, consider placing the monthly reports on file.
So moved.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. Any further discussion on any of the reports? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? That passes. Date and time of next meeting will be Monday, April 29th at 5:15 PM. And let's see, note one time date change. Okay,
I think we push it back a week later.
oh, okay, that makes sense, yeah, okay. All right, and then I ask for an adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and against? Passes. Well, thank you.